Hello guys, welcome to another video brought to you by Riyadh Quba, an English teacher. So today we have a very different, let's say, video from the previous ones. I have prepared for you this revision session before, of course, the English exam so that I can help you really improve your grades, give you some tips and tricks on how to maximize your chances of getting a good grade. So before getting started, I would like to give you an idea about my YouTube channel. So on this channel, you will find summaries of all the lessons that you've studied this year. You will find videos teaching you how to write really good essays, and you will also find, videos teaching you how to answer the language exercises. So please check out these videos. So the screenshots that you can see are of the videos, which I consider them like summaries of the lessons that you have studied this year, and they are not very long. As I said, I have also prepared for you videos explaining, showing you, and giving you some tips and tricks on how to write appropriately, correctly, and in a very good way. So for example, if you have a problem writing a postcard, you don't know how to write a biography, if you want to know or learn how to write even a headline, so you can find them on this YouTube channel. So to find the video you are looking for, please check out the playlists because I have organized all the videos in playlists, so that you can find the videos easier. So these are some examples of the videos that I have prepared. So the first two pictures are about the lesson entitled Space Tourism. And the second one is about teaching you how to write a good speech. So to do that, I have performed this speech so that I can make it sound more authentic, and you really understand what a speech is and how it should be written. This series, which I consider very, very, very important, and I would like you to watch this series before this English exam and before the final exam. Why? Because I collected the common mistakes that students usually make when they answer the reading comprehension questions, the language exercises, as well as the writing tasks. So these are common mistakes. What do I mean by that? I mean that you find these mistakes in almost every exam. So I collected these mistakes and I highlighted them for you to so that you can avoid them. And when you avoid them, of course, your grade will be much better. So today, in this revision lesson, it's going to be divided into 3 parts, and we're going to deal with 3 parts. Of course, the first one, we will learn how to answer the reading comprehension questions. Then we will move on to the language exercises, and then I will show you how to deal with the writing questions. So let's get started now with the first part, which is reading comprehension, or learning how to answer the reading comprehension questions correctly. So to do that, I have chosen this 2020 exam, and we are going to see how to answer these questions in a good way. Before that, before starting with the questions, the first tip that I would like you to do when you have a reading comprehension question or exam, you have to identify the types of questions. Why? Because when you know what the type of the question is, you will know the type of answer you are expected to write. So this is very important because each question should be answered in a specific way. So you must or you should know that. So as you can see from the list here, we have, of course, we have 7 questions and we have seven types. So we're going to read them. Then we are going to read the questions and we will label each question with the appropriate type. So what do we have here? We have answering short WH questions. Then we have choosing the best adjective or adjectives from a given group. Then we have completing a table. Then we have correcting false statements with details from the text, then finding synonyms or antonyms from the text, and of course, before that, reacting to the text and understanding the main idea of the text. So these are some. Of course, there are other types, but these are the ones we have for this or in this exam. So let's start with the first question. Tick the most appropriate option. The text is mainly about. So of course, I would like you, while we answer the questions, write your answers in the comment section below, and I will read them for you every now and then. So I would like you to tell me what the type of question is. Is it answering short WH questions, or choosing the best adjective? Is it a table completion? So what is it exactly? So of course, always the first question is about the main idea of the text. So we want to know if the students is able to understand, to grasp what the text is about. So this is the first question. It's about understanding the main idea of the text. So you always have such a question. So, and I advise you here to answer this question at the end of the exam. Why? So that you can have an idea about the whole text, because it's difficult for you to understand the text right after reading the text like one time or two times. But when you answer all the questions, you will have like a clear picture, and that's very, very, very important. So moving on to the second question. For each of the following statements, pick out one detail showing that it is false. So of course, here we have false statements, and we have to find the correct answers from the text. So of course, this type of question is correcting false statements with details from the text. Is it clear? Very good. So I would like you to tell me now in the comment section below what type of question it is. For the third one, what are the two strategies? What are the two strategies? So we know that what is a WH question word. So of course, this is answering short WH questions. So you see, answering short WH questions. I mean here, you are not supposed to write long sentences or long answers. So your answers should be short. So we want to know the two strategies. So they are short answers. Next one, complete the table with information about the Brooklyn's new home. So this is, of course, complete a table or the table. So this is table completion. So you have to complete the table with the missing information. So that's very easy. So you are not supposed to write long answers again. So these are some pieces of information that we need you to find from the text. Then circle the two adjectives that best describe Kara and her kids after building their new home. Of course, this is what we call choosing the best adjectives, or maybe sometimes you can ask you to choose one adjective from a given group. So we have here a group of 4 adjectives, and we want you to choose the best one. Then find words in the text nearly or having nearly the same meaning as. This is a very common question that you can find in the reading comprehension exam. So here, this is called, so what is it? Yes, so that's very good. It's finding synonyms, and sometimes we can ask you to find antonyms, okay? So synonyms and antonyms from the text. So that's what this type of this question is. And of course, finally, you have reacting to the text. So we always ask the students to react to the text. Why? Because it's like an authentic situation. Sometimes on Facebook or any social network, you read a newspaper article or a Facebook post, and of course, as a way to interact with that article or with that text, you write a comment. So that comment is called a reaction to that post or that article. So we want here the students to interact with the text, with the content of the text, with the main idea of the text. Probably here sometimes we ask the students to justify their answers, express their opinions, or answer a particular question as a way to interact with the question. Is this clear? So these are the types of questions that you usually have in the reading comprehension exam. Now we will move on to the second tip, which is reading the questions. Here, I strongly recommend, I strongly advise you to read the questions first. Why? Because as you can see here, reading the text or the questions, reading the questions first tells you what you need to look for in the unseen text you have been given. So which is better? Reading the text right away without having prior knowledge or information about the text, or having information about what the text is about and then start reading the question. So which is better? So if you start reading the text first, here I advise you to do the opposite, which is starting from the questions so that you can have prior knowledge about the text and then you read the text. And I will show you how to do that in a very good way. So when you read the questions, you have to take your pen and a piece of paper and do what I am going to do right now. So let's start with the first question. The text is mainly about a family who failed to survive hard times, made it to the top in business, won a battle against sufferings. So the first information that I have here is the text revolves around a family. So I have to write it this way on a piece of paper. So let's move on to the second question and see what information we can get from the text. Building. So for each of the following statements, pick out one detail from the text showing that it is false. Building a new house was an easy task for the Brookins. So here I have new information. The family is called the Brookins. Then Brookins built a new house, and which, of course, the question says was an easy task, but this is not correct. So here it was difficult for the family to build a new house. So you see now I'm getting an idea about what the text is about. Let's move on to the second one. The Brookins will live in their new home for life, which means forever, for their entire lives. So this is not correct. So I have something new here. They will not live there for life. So you see, I'm getting an idea about the text. Then what are, question number 3, what are the 2 strategies that Kara and her kids used to build their new house? So another new information, which is 2 strategies. So we can understand that the family used 2 strategies to build this new house. And we want to find these 2 strategies. You see, this is how you should deal with the questions and how you should read the questions. Moving on to question number 4. Complete the table with information about Brooklyn's new home construction year. So we have here that the house was built in 2008, and we want to know when they lived in this house. So here we have inhabitation, which comes from the verb to inhabit, which means to live. So you see, and we want to know the price, how much this house was valued after construction, after building the house. So probably the family wanted to sell this house. Question number 5, circle 2 adjectives that best describe Kara and her kids after building their own house. So this is what this question is about. Find words in the text nearly with the same meaning as severely emotional pain and extremely attractive. So then the last question, if you were Kara Brookins, what advice would you give people who might go through this painful experience as you? So we here from this question, we have learned that this family went through a painful experience. So you see, this is what the text is about. Let me summarize it for you. So you see, now I have managed to get an idea about what the text is about even before reading the text. So what is likely the text is going to be about? So here it's about the family called the Brookins, who managed to build a new house. And they built this new house in 2008, and they don't have the intention to live in this new house forever, for life. And they used 2 strategies to build this new house. But before that, this family went through a painful experience, whether before building the house or after building the house. So here we have a clear picture or a good idea about what the text is about. Is it clear? Did you like this technique? Please let me know in the comment section below. I would like to know if you usually follow this way of reading the questions. So again, let me summarize it. Let me recap it. Read the questions and take notes as you read the questions so that you can have a clear picture about what this text or the text is about. So far, so good? Great. Let's move on now to the third tip, which is reading the text. So now it's time to read the text. When you read the text, you need to be mindful. You need to be aware of the time. You need to be aware of the time. You don't want to rush it, but also you don't want to skim the text. It's not reading the text quickly. So you have to read it carefully and at least twice. Read the text at least twice after you read the questions. And as you read, you need to read to understand the main idea of the text. So this is probably for the first reading. And then the second reading, you will read keeping in mind that I have to find the information the questions are asking. So you see, you will start answering the questions as you read or as you are reading the text. So that's very, very important. So we are going to read the text together, and I'm going to read it. And I would like you to read the text with me. Okay, so let's get started. Kara Brookins, a mother who fled domestic violence with her 4 children, tells the incredible story of how she rebuilt her family by building her own home. When she escaped her violent husband in 2008, she and her kids felt broken. We had been beaten so far down, said Kara. Nevertheless, she knew that she had to give her kids a new start if they ever had a chance of leaving the trauma behind them. And as she couldn't afford to buy a new home, they would have to roll up their sleeves and build it themselves. With no building experience, Kara and her kids sat and watched hours of YouTube videos and tutorials to teach them how to construct everything. There was a lot of asking people for help too. The family began construction of their house in Hawker Drive, Arkansas in 2008. There were months of back-breaking labor. Then, the stunning 5-bedroom home was complete. A year later, Kara and her children moved in. The property was purchased and built for $130,000. The last time it was appraised, it was valued at $500,000. The idea of building our own home rose the only possible way to rebuild my shattered family while we worked through the shock of domestic violence, Kara said. We were not only building our home, we were building our family unit, our confidence. Kara said that living in a home she and her loved ones built made it special. There is nothing like living in a place where you have touched every single brick, she declared. What's important is that we are who we are today thanks to it. The memories of building together will stay with the family years on end. However, that doesn't mean that the Brookens will stay at that house forever. Kara hopes that her story could inspire other victims of domestic abuse to do something big and life-changing to reclaim their identity and their confidence. So you see now, this is the first reading. We can have a general idea about what the text is about. Now I'm going to read it again, and then we will start answering the questions. Second reading. Kara Brookins, a mother who fled domestic violence with her 4 children, tells the incredible story of how she rebuilt her family by building her own home. When she escaped her violent husband in 2008, she and her kids felt broken. We had been beaten so far down, said Kara. Nevertheless, she knew that she had to give her kids a new start if they ever had a chance of leaving the trauma behind them. And as she couldn't afford to buy a new home, they would have to roll up their sleeves and build it themselves. With no building experience, Kara and her kids sat and watched hours of YouTube tutorials to teach them how to construct everything. There was a lot of asking people for help too. The family began construction of their house in Hawker Drive, Arkansas in 2008. There were months of back-breaking labor. Then the stunning 5-bedroom home was complete. A year later, Kara and her children moved in now. The property was purchased and built for $130,000. The last time it was appraised, it was valued at $500,000. The idea of building our new home rose as the only way possible, or as the only possible way to rebuild my shattered family while we worked through the shock of domestic violence, Kara said. We were not only building our home, we were rebuilding our family units, our self-confidence. Kara said that living in a home she and her loved ones built made it special. There is nothing like living in a place where you have touched every single brick, she declared. What's important is that we are who we are today thanks to it. The memories of building together will stay with the family years on end. However, that doesn't mean that the Brookens will stay at that house forever. Kara also hopes that her story could inspire other victims of domestic abuse to do something big and life-changing to reclaim their identity and their confidence. So that's, I think, enough reading the text twice. Let's now start answering the questions. So what I am going to do now, we are going to read the question. I'm going to show you the common mistakes students usually make when they answer this type of question, and then we will answer the question or the questions together. So the first one, tick the most appropriate option. As I said earlier, we will not answer this question right now. I will keep it for later until I answer all the other questions. But I have a remark here. What is it? What does the question ask? Tick. Ticking is not circling. So here, if you circle, you might get penalized. You might not get the full mark. So please, if the question asks to tick, tick. If the question asks you to circle, so please do what the question states. So this is a common mistake. This is the first mistake students usually make when they answer this type of question, but we will not answer it right now. We will now move on to the second question, which is correcting false statements. Pick out one detail from the text showing that it is false. What is the second mistake here? I have a lot of things to say about this question. So the first point here, the question says pick out one detail. From where? Using your own words? No, from the text. Copy the answer from the text and paste it. It's like a copy and paste answer. Don't add anything. So the first one, do not write more than one detail. What do I mean by that? Because the question states one detail, and a detail can be one word. Maybe you can explain, you can justify by one word or by one sentence. If you find yourself answering with two sentences, make sure that your answer is not correct. So this is very important. So your answer must be either one word or one sentence, not two sentences. So this is the first mistake. And from the text. The second remark here, do not add unnecessary words or omit the most important ones. So for example, here, when students justify or when the students give the justification from the text, they omit the necessary part, the most important part, the part which contains the answer. Then do not justify by using your own words or paraphrasing the sentences from the text. So what do I mean by that? For example, they find the justification from the text and then they use their own vocabulary, language, and words. So don't use your own words. Use the words as they are, 100% from the text. So it's not paraphrasing. You are not supposed to paraphrase. You are not supposed to write using your own words. And the most common mistake here is do not turn the sentences into negative or affirmative ones. What do I mean by that? I will show you how the students answer the question. For example, the first one, building a new house was an easy task. So the students think that when they write or the answer this way was not an easy task. So of course they will right, building a new house was not an easy task. They think this is correct. But let me ask you a question. Have they justified from the text? No, they haven't. So it's not correct. So don't. So here we have a positive statement. So what do? They put it in the negative, but sometimes you have a negative, but they turn it into a positive one, thinking that they have corrected the statement in the question. For example, here we have the Brookens will not. They write the Brookens will not live in their new home forever. Of course, they will not. But show me, justify from the text that they will not live in that home forever. So these are the common mistakes for this question. So let's now answer the question. Building a new home was not an easy task. So what does it mean? It means that it was difficult. If it was not easy, it means it was difficult. So I have to find a justification or a sentence or showing that it was difficult. So let's go to paragraph number 2. I don't have to read the whole text, just I go to the second paragraph. Let me read. The family began construction of their house in Hockory Drive, Arkansas in 2008. There were months of back-breaking labor. So this is my justification. So I have here back-breaking labor. So labor means work. And if I divide the words back-breaking, so this is my back, and breaking. So if I do something and I feel like my back is hurt, it means that this type of labor is very tiring and very exhausting. So the correct answer here, building a new house was not easy. So there were months. It means this family had been or worked really hard to build this new house. So it was very tiring for them. Let's move on to the second one. The Brookens will live in their new home for life. Of course, they will not live there for life. So here I have to read the third paragraph and try to help me write your answer in the comment section below. What do you think the correct answer here is for this one? So it's going to be, let me read it for the third paragraph. Sarah said that living in a home she and her loved ones built made it special. There is nothing like living in a place where you have touched every single brick, she declared. What's important is that we are who we are today thanks to it. The memories of building together will stay with the family years on end. However, that doesn't mean the Brookens will stay. So you see, will live at that house forever, for life. So what does for life mean? It means for forever. So you see, this is my justification. This is my justification. That doesn't mean that the Brookens will stay at that house forever. So you see, I have just given the right answer. I have not added other sentences before or other sentences before or after. So just the right answers. This is what you are supposed to do, and this is how you are supposed to answer. Is it clear? Good. Let's move on to the next question. So please, if you have other questions, please write them down in the comment section below. And of course, after this broadcast and after this revision lesson, I'm going to answer all of your questions. So please write your answers in the comment section below. The third question, what are the 2 strategies that Kara and her kids used to build their new house? Let's move on. Let's go right away to paragraph number 1. So what are the 2 strategies? The two strategies are watching hours of YouTube tutorials to teach them how to construct everything. So this is how they managed to build this new house. How? Watching hours of YouTube tutorials. And the second one, asking people for help. So there was a lot of asking people for help. So these are the two strategies. So you see, I have not written long sentences. So just one sentence for each line. So, but here sometimes the students, they write many sentences thinking that the correct one will be among the sentences he or she wrote. So it's not about gambling. It's about really understanding what the text is about. Great. Question number 4. Complete the table with information complete the table below with the information or with information about the Brooklyn's new home. So here we have that this family built this new house in 2008, but we want to know when this family lived in this house. So we will find the information here in or the answers in the second paragraph. So here the year in which so they lived in the house in 2008. So then the stunning 5-bedroom was complete. A year later, Kara and her children moved in. A year later. So what is the year? It's a 2001. You must write 2009. If you write a year later, this is not correct. So we want the exact year. Then we have price after construction. This is very important. I would like you to write the answer for this question in the comment section below. Please read it carefully. Price after construction. Price after construction. So how much was this house after construction? So I think this question is very, 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 it was asked really smartly, intelligently, in a very smart way, because it proves, or we want to know if the students really understands the text. Because as you can see from the text, we have this price here, $130,000 written in numbers. But we have another price, which is $500,000 written in letters, and this one written in numbers. I remember last year when we corrected this exam, most of the students answered $130,000 because it was written in numbers. So they thought that this is the correct answer and this is the price after construction, but they didn't carry on reading the text or the paragraph. So please don't jump right into the answer once you find it like easily. So if it was too easy for you to find the answer, so make sure that it is not the correct. So here we want to test the students' comprehension of the text. So the correct answer is $500,000. So the family bought the house for $130,000, but then after building that house, it was valued at $500,000. So let's move on to question number 5. Circle the two adjectives that best describe Kara and her kids after building their own house. So of course, here, let me tell you what the common mistake is. Do not circle more than 2. Students think sometimes that they are so smart. So what do? They answer, they circle 1, 2, 3. What happens when they do so? They think that they are managed, or they have managed to at least circle 2 correct answers. But how do we correct this type of question. So of course, one answer will eliminate one wrong answer will eliminate one correct answer. So instead of getting 2 marks, you will only get 1 mark. Okay? So next time, don't be so smart. Okay? We are probably smarter than you are. So please circle 2 adjectives, just 2 adjectives. So of course here the correct answers are unified. So the family was unified as they built this new house together. And of course, they were proud of their accomplishment, of their achievement, of the success, because building a new house from scratch, from the beginning, with no building experience, is very, very, very difficult and back-breaking labor, as they said. Question number 6. Find words in the text having nearly the same meaning as severe emotional pain from paragraph 1, extremely attractive from paragraph 2. Before answering this question, we are going to move to a practice section. We are going to practice with some other words, and then we will go back to the exam questions and ask you to find the answers. Let me give you some techniques here. First, do not find a different form. How should we answer this type of question? For example, we have the first one. Find words in the text having nearly the same meaning as run away from a different situation. So run, it's a verb in the simple past. So the first rule, the first tip, identify the type of the words. This is very important. I have to find a word from the text, from this paragraph, which must be in the simple past. Must. So then, underline all the words in the simple past. And then choose the closest one. So I'm going to read quickly and underline all the words in the simple past. So Kara Brooken, a mother who fled. This is a simple past verb. Domestic violence with her 4 children, tells her incredible story. So you see here, tells is a simple present tense. So I'm not going to underline the incredible story of how she rebuilt, this is a past verb, her family by building her own home. When she escaped her violent husband in 2008, she and her kids felt broken. She had been beaten so far down, said Kara. Nevertheless, she knew that she had to give her new kids a new start if they ever had a chance of leaving the trauma behind them. So had is also a simple past verb. As she couldn't afford to buy a new home, they would have to roll up their sleeves and build it themselves. With no building experience, Kara and her kids sat and watched hours of YouTube tutorials to teach them how to construct everything. There was a lot of asking people for help. So you see, so now I have limited my choices and my options. So I have to choose the one nearly the same as running away from a dangerous situation, which must be in the past. So here the closest one is fled. So the family fled domestic violence. After choosing the verb or the words, I have to see if I replace fled with the explanation I have in the question. So the meaning should be the same. So Kara, a mother who ran away. So you see, when I replace it, so the meaning is still the same. It still makes sense. Ran away from domestic violence with her 4 children. So this is the first one. Let's move on to the second the second one. So here I have exhausted. Exhausted is an adjective. So I have to find a word with the same meaning as exhausted, which is beaten, exhausted. So the family was exhausted, was tired because of the domestic violence. Another example. So I have, however, here, which is a conjunction. It's a linker. So I have to find another linker with the same meaning as however. So which is nevertheless. So you see, nevertheless, however, conjunction, conjunction, simple past, adjective, adjective. Moving on. So I have to find a verb with the same meaning as have money to buy. Have money to buy. So what is it? It's afford. So you see here, it's in the base form. So I have found a verb in the base form. So must be the same form, the must structure. Then prepare, base form again, to fight or work. So I have to find a verb from the paragraph with the same form, which is roll up their sleeves. So here they would have to prepare, to fight and work and build it themselves. So this is what the word is. Then we have broken and destroyed. So broken and destroyed can be past participle or it can be an adjective. So I have to find a word from the text with the same meaning as broken. So which is shattered. Let's move on now to the exam questions. So find words in the text with the same meaning as severe emotional pain. So pain here is a noun. Extremely attractive. So this is an adjective. So I have to find a noun from paragraph 1 and an adjective from paragraph 2. I will give you like a couple of 1 minute to find the answer. So again, please write your answers in the comment section below. What are the two words with the same meaning as severe emotional pain and extremely attractive? So what is it? Find a word here. It must be a noun and it must be an adjective. So I hope that you have said trauma. So here is the word trauma, and the second one is stunning. So stunning is an adjective and trauma is a noun. So you see, adjective, adjective, noun, noun. So for example, if you wrote, for example, a different form, this would not be a correct answer. Is it clear? Great. I'm very happy to know that everything is fine. Next question, which is reacting to the text. So here, give a personal justified answer to the following question. If you were Kara, what advice would you give people who might go through the same painful experience as you? My advice here, do not contradict your yes or no answer with your explanation. So there is no harmony between your yes answer, yes, I would go, I would advise people, or I would do something, and then you justify it with another answer which contradicts the yes or no answer. So your answer and your justification should go hand in hand. So your answer, and you're not supposed to give like very complicated answers here. You can get a full mark if you just answer in a very simple way. But before answering this question, I would like to highlight a very important grammatical point, which is if plus. This is the conditional type 2. What do I have here? I have if plus past. So my answer should be would plus base form. So if I were Kara, we already have it in the question. I would advise people to never give up when they face, for example, setbacks, problems, or challenges. As simple as that. Do not complicate things. Give a very simple answer. You can get a full mark if you just write it this way. Now, I would like you, after reading this text, let me read your reactions to this text. And I would like you to answer this question. Please follow the same structure. If plus past, I would. So please, again, my question to you is write your answers in the comment section below and answer this question. If you were Kara Brookins, what advice would you give people who might go through this painful experience as you? Let me read your answers in the comment section below. Another question, although we don't have this question in this exam, but we are going to show you, or I'm going to show you how to answer it, which is the summary question. Sometimes we give you like a short text and we ask you to write a short, to complete the summary with the missing words. So here, my remarks, do not write more than one word. So here the question states one word. So here, one word, and one word. Don't write two words. Don't write two words, just one word. If you wrote two words, it would not be correct. This is the first remark. Second one, the students do not differentiate between a word and an expression. One word is one word. An expression, it can be a group of words, 2 or 3 words. So this is an expression. So when the question asks you to write one word, write one word. Don't write expressions. Don't write 2 words. And don't misspell. Don't write the words incorrectly. Misspelling the words is another mistake students make. So please be careful and mindful of these mistakes. So here, what are we supposed to do? We have to complete the summary with the missing words. When mother of 4, Kara Brookins was a victim of. So here I have to underline the keywords and try to find them in the text. So here I have domestic. Where can I find the word domestic? Victims of domestic violence. So you see violence here. So what is the missing word? Domestic violence with her children. So I have to find the keywords in the summary and find them in the text and try to read one sentence before that. She was determined to put her what? To put her family or life back together. Donc, to put her family back together again. Just 9 months later, she managed to, what do we need? Base, form, verb. A home from scratch. To build a home from scratch, which means from the beginning. Clear? Last question, which is the reference question. What does it mean? What do the underlined words in the text refer to? This is very easy, actually. So first I have we. I have to find here, this is we in the text. Let me read from the beginning before this we and try to find what it refers to. Kara said that living in a home where she and her loved ones. So we refers to Kara and her kids. So you see, it cannot be Kara only, because when we use we, it means I and another person. So you see, this is how we answer. For the second one, there, it can refer to people. Generally, this is generally people, objects, or animals. So you see, I have to read before that. So let's read from this sentence here, and I have to find a plural noun. So I have to find a plural noun. Very good. So Kara hopes that her story could inspire other victims of domestic abuse to do something big and life-changing to reclaim their identity and their confidence. So it refers to victims of domestic abuse. Okay. So those victims. So it refers to those victims. So I will just keep it this way. Is it clear? So I would like you to write in the comment section below and give me and tell me your feedback about the new strategies that I have provided you. So you should, and I advise you, and you had better, and you ought to, and I recommend, and it is advisable for you to follow such strategies, because otherwise, if you don't do so, you will be reading the text a lot of times, you will be wasting a lot of time, and you only have 2 hours. So this is what we mean by strategies and skills. It's all about mastering these skills. You need to master, you need to answer a lot of texts to learn how to answer the reading comprehension questions. So again, please write your feedback and your ideas about these tips and these strategies. Okay, so that's all for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, and also to make sure to subscribe to our channel so that you can get notified whenever I upload a new video. And we have another revision session that we will do together, and we will revise all the language exercises that you might have in the exam. And as usual, I will give you some tips and tricks on how to answer them correctly. We will revise vocabulary. We will revise some grammatical points. So please join us in the next revision session. Thank you so much. Love and peace. Riyadh.